Hello and welcome to Phi 192 Business Ethics. This is going to be a pretty brief lecture. I'm just going to introduce you to what we're going to cover in the course, walk through the syllabus a bit, just so you get a sense of the expectations for the course and what to expect. So I'm your instructor. My name is Nate Greeley. I have been working at Mount St. Mary's for 2 years now. I got my PhD in philosophy and cognitive science from UCSD. My main area of expertise is philosophy of mind, philosophy of cognitive science, but I also teach logic at Mount St. Mary's, critical thinking, and ethics. I've taught a great deal of ethics. So I'm looking forward to this course. I think we'll all have a good time. It's a relatively small class, which is always great. So I think it should be a good group. So the details of the course is on the Doheny campus, Building 4, Room 202. Obviously, we're online for the time being due to fires and things like that. So we will stay in touch, and as things develop, we will figure out when we'll be back together. So as of now, I'm planning next week to be back. So, but we'll confirm that. So. We will stay in communication on that stuff. You can always reach me at ngreeley@msmu.edu, and then I will have office hours before class every day, and we'll figure out the location for that once things have settled down a bit. So I don't know if any of you have taken an ethics course before. So there's different types of ethics courses. In general, ethics is a study of the nature of right and wrong. And if you take ethics course that's just called ethics, usually it's what they call meta-ethics, where it's like, what is even the nature of right and wrong? This is what we call an applied ethics course. So it's going to ask much more concrete questions about practices and whether they're right and wrong. And these will be surrounding businesses. So, what kind of hiring is ethical, right? What sort of things is it ethical to sell? Is there anything that is not ethical to sell? And so on. So it'll be much more concrete as philosophy courses go. And we are going to start with a little review of meta-ethics because as you'll see when we get into these articles, they assume a little bit of knowledge. So I'm going to do a quick sort of primer on some of the main ethical theories like utilitarianism and so on, so that you have a background. Also theories of distributive justice. What is a just way that money and other goods should be distributed in a society? Should it be total communism, totally equal? Should it be whatever you can earn by your own grit belongs to you, somewhere in the middle? We'll talk a bit about those theories so that you have a little bit of grounding when we get into the applied ethical questions. And then some of the things we'll explore is, first of all, are businesses even the sorts of things that can act ethically or not, right? If we say, Exxon did something wrong, does that even make sense? Or are we really talking about the CEO? What is the locus of moral responsibility when it comes to business? We'll talk about what sorts of things can be sold. Can you sell your body parts, right? Could I sell one of my kidneys, or should that be illegal? Sex, right? Can sex be sold? Prostitution, things like that. Hiring practices, when are they morally acceptable and when are they not? Advertising, right? When is advertising moral and when is it not? So it should be fun. So learning outcomes, this is, every university requires learning outcomes on the syllabus. So this is the language I have that you'll be, demonstrate your understanding of ethical issues in business by engaging in discussions, completing written exams, and writing and revising an original essay. What I really want, my real learning outcome is that I don't expect that you will memorize all the content, right, that I present to you or become experts in business ethics in general, but I do hope that you can find one particular narrow sort of subject that piques your interest, that makes you want to do a deep dive. And there'll be an essay in the class that's an opportunity for you to do a deep dive in some particular part of this course that hopefully interests you. So that's the learning outcome I'm hoping for, is you will become an expert in some very narrow part of business ethics. So as far as textbooks, they'll all be available on Canvas for free. It's going to be various, journal articles. We'll begin with some selections from a textbook by James Rachels. That's a very nice clear introduction to ethics, and then we'll dive into some real, philosophy papers that will be ethics, business ethics papers, but I'll help, in the lectures. We'll work through them, and you should be able to get through those. So assessments, what are you graded on? The way I approach the course is you just can't do well if you're not doing the readings, you're not engaging the lectures, paying attention. And so I give lots of rewards early on for doing the readings, showing up to lecture, actually paying attention in lecture instead of staring at your phone, right? Then that's the only way you even have a chance to try to retain something and maybe get something out of the course. So there's a lot of low stakes, things like you get credit for attendance and participation, right? You get credit for a presentation on your essay topic. It doesn't have to be great, it just has to be done, right? There'll be quizzes. They're meant to be very, very easy if you're just engaged in the course at all, right? So I reward a lot for engagement, and then the rest sort of, the expertise will come if you're just doing the basic legwork. So here's the precise breakdown. 15% for attendance and participation. So, you're expected to be in class when it's in person. And also there will be a discussion board due every Sunday evening where you'll be posting on it doesn't have to be, the idea was to be on the readings from the upcoming week, to demonstrate that you're sort of engaged with the readings before we even do the lectures. But as the course, as the semester goes on, if you're starting to focus in on ideas of really the goal of the discussion is to start to generate ideas for a term paper, right? So the point is not to report and prove that you did the readings, right, and summarize the readings. The point is to go beyond the readings and maybe ask a question if there's something that's not clear to you. Those are good places to find paper ideas because often if the author is unclear, sometimes it's not that you can't understand it, is that there's a problem there with what the author is saying, and that's why it feels unclear to you. So if you need clarifications, you're saying, author says this here, but he seems to contradict himself there. Put that in the discussion. You may be on to something, right? If you have an objection to one of the readings, if you actually think one of the readings is right, but you want to extend it or defend it against an objection or something like that. But the goal is some original thought that can maybe spark a paper topic. That's the point of the discussion boards, right? There will be quizzes. The course is roughly broken up into 2-week units. Some of the units are shorter and so on. But the idea is at the end of each unit, when we've covered advertising or whatever, there'll be a little quiz just to make sure that you're, getting the main points, right? It's not trying to trip you up with very tricky details. I'll probably alternate between kind of multiple choice and short answer, short essays, just to make sure that you're on track and that you are, in the same universe as the rest of us, that you're aware of what's going on in the class. So if you can do that, you should do well in the quizzes. There will be a midterm exam. It's short essay format. The way I do it is I give you the essay prompts ahead of time, and I give you 4 to choose from, and you can pick the 2 that you think you can best answer. Prepare all you like, but it's not open notes, so you'll think about how you're going to answer the prompt. I make the prompts pretty detailed so that it's pretty clear what I expect from you. And then you'll come into class in a blue book and write out your answers. I guess you could literally write the essay up and memorize it, but really, if you come in understanding the material and have the main ideas of what you want to write, shouldn't be a problem. So each of the short essays is probably like 1 to 2 pages. I'm not super hung up exactly on the length, so long as you answer all the parts of the prompt adequately. So the whole midterm will be like 2 to 4 written pages. Next, presentation. So, about halfway through the course, when you've been exposed to a good amount of the material, we're going to start to think about what you want to write about. So the topic is entirely open, right? You can choose anything from the course that you find interesting, that you think you can say something original about, and go ahead and write a paper on that. I will give you some sample essay prompts if you have trouble thinking of something. They'll be kind of open-ended, so you can write on one of those prompts and find an original topic that way if that helps you get going. But you're totally free to pick anything and write on any topic. And so the presentation here, there really doesn't have to be any written component. You'll just get up before the class. It's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and just pitch your idea, right? There doesn't have to be a PowerPoint or anything like that. Just say, here's what I'm thinking about writing about. I read the article about I read, Friedman's argument that the only moral obligation of a business is to maximize profits for its investors, and I think that that's wrong because, one of the premises in his argument I think is false. You can keep it pretty narrow, right? And say, here's, what how I think I'm going to argue that what Friedman said is false, and you'll just bounce it off us. It doesn't have to be, there may be problems with it. That's the point. I'll give some suggestions. It'll be like a little mini conference. Your classmates will also, give you suggestions on how you could improve or where there might be potential problems you have to look out for. And so we'll do that. We'll spread it out over 2 days, so we'll have plenty of time for everybody to, get lots of feedback from folks and start to flesh out their idea before it even really hits the page, right? So then the next stage of your essay will be to develop into a draft. So the draft it's a full essay. It's not like an outline or half an essay, but it just doesn't have to be that good yet, right? I think, and this is probably not true of all classes, but a lot of, in graduate school I TA'd a lot of different classes, and I took a lot of classes, and many of them teach you to write bad essays quickly, right? Where you have to bang out 3 pages the night before. I don't see a whole lot of value in that, right? So I'd rather you write something a little bit better slowly. So that's the idea with the draft. You're going to do the proposal, you're going to get some feedback, you're going to flesh out your ideas. Now you're ready to put something on the page, and instead of doing it, the night before it's due, the final essay is due, you can do that, vomiting onto the page at the draft stage, right? And get something on the page so that then you can start to revise, because all writing, the real writing is the revising, right? When you start to read through your essay, you read it, you come to it fresh, you realize, geez, what I wrote there didn't really make much sense at all, right? I better revise it. Many people in college never really get around to doing any proper writing because all they do is the 11 p.m. vomit on the page and turn it in. So I think we're all capable of better than that, and so this always goes well, and I enjoy reading your much more polished and thoughtful essays by the end of it. So you'll get comments back on your draft from me on how to improve it, and then you'll have a final version due at the end of the course. And that one will be graded on, whether it's good. The draft, so long as I get a full essay that looks like it, a sincere attempt, an original argument, you'll get the points for the draft. For the final essay, it'll be graded on quality. And finally, there will be a final exam. Same format as the midterm, just for the covering material from the second half of the class. So 2 essays in class. I'll give you the prompts ahead of time. I'll give you 4 to choose from. You choose 2, and so on. They announce the final exam dates kind of in this middle of the semester. We'll see. Maybe I'll make it take home, because it's always kind of annoying. People are trying to arrange travel and stuff like that, and I don't always know the date of the final exam, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So I haven't. Do look at the actual syllabus, because it has the entire course schedule, right, day by day. I'm not going to go through that in detail here. You can look through it on your own, but it has the date everything is due. And as I add, readings and assignments, they'll all be linked from the syllabus, the main page in the Canvas. So everything in the course, really, you can reach from the syllabus page in the Canvas. It's all linked there. So these are just a few highlights from the syllabus that I want to hit in this short lecture, but do take the time to read the whole thing. Diversity and inclusion. So this is the verbiage from the university website, which you're welcome to look through. But what I want to say about it is I certainly want everyone to feel like their contributions are valuable and welcome, and that they feel comfortable and happy in the class. And so I'm certainly going to do everything I can to make that the case. I've never had any issues with students being, rude or disrespectful to each other, and I expect that'll continue in this course. And feel free to talk to me if I ever, ethics, we cover some sensitive subjects, right? We'll cover sex work, for example, so if there's a topic that you just don't feel it's maybe too emotionally charged or whatever, and you don't feel like you can engage with it, talk to me, and we could find an alternative assignment or something. So feel free, and if I ever approach a subject in a way that makes people uncomfortable or anything, let me know. I'm happy to be corrected. I learn as much as you folks do sometimes. So that's what I want to say about that. Academic integrity. So in general, don't cheat. I designed the courses to where it's not very easy to cheat, right? Most of the assignments are in class, handwritten. The essay draft and the final draft you will be turned in through Canvas, so there is some potential for people to try to use, generative AI or ChatGPT. Here's my experience with that. So first of all, when you do your proposal, I already know what your paper topic is. I know what your ideas are. So if you try to feed that into an AI, what it spits out is going to sound pretty weird. It's not going to sound like you. And then if you try to take my comments and revise it into a final draft, it never works out well. What comes out is grammatically perfect and completely devoid of original argument, right? So it's pretty obvious, and it tends to get bad grades whether or not I can prove it, right? Just because it doesn't do what I ask, which is to be original. The point here is to do philosophy, right? So I'm not asking for it's not a grammar class, right? It's a philosophy class, so I'm looking for original ideas. AI is not very good at that yet. And finally, academic accommodations. So yeah, if you have a disability for which you have accommodations, happy to work with you on that and give you extra test time or whatever else the accommodation might be. All I ask is that you go through the proper channels, right? Because I have to get permission from the university to give you those accommodations. So that's a bit of a process. Sometimes it takes a little time. So if you think this might apply to you, just try to get that process started sooner than later, so that I'll be allowed to help you when the time comes. All right, so that's it for now. Again, relatively short, just walking you through the class. Do look through the entire syllabus, please, on your own, and feel free to poke around the Canvas. The readings are all up there. I'm getting the assignments up there shortly as well. There's nothing due, first week it's just the discussion at the due Sunday night, so it starts out not too fast, so you can ease into it. So feel free to reach out to me at any point if you have any questions, and I'll see you again soon.